Hey guys, so I am here today to record my second CS127 assignment. So I already coded some of the codes, so prototypes, int main, functions, all of that, etc. So let's go to the program. So we have to go create an array called list and its size is max. Initialize it, and the result of the following function should be in function me. So let's declare int max first as a size of 10. So int list max. Let's initialize some values. So 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, 8, 10, and 9. So these are my 10 values for the array list and has 10 elements. So let's go to the first condition. So void print list should display the elements of the list. So in displaying the elements of the list, we should use the for loop. Let's declare int I as 0, which is our index. I is less than 10 because we are not using max because it is not global, and void print list has no second parameter. I++ for incremation. So let's see out the value. Let's see out the index I+1. So we should start at 1 to 10. We start the counting from 1 up to 10, and that list I and line. This I is for us to see the values of the list. So it's gonna start from I, which is 0, list 0. It's gonna see out list 0, and every time I increments, it will show the position also increments and show the specific element in that position. So now let's proceed to bool is even. So bool is even, list and index. Returns true if the index is even, false if otherwise. So in bool is even, we should we got the array value from the main and its maximum or size. So we should know in this function it will let the user know if the index or the total of all the numbers in the array is even or odd. So in this case, it's even because we have 10 values, so 10 is the index. So if we want to check if the value is even, it should be divisible by 2, or it should have no remainder. So we should use the if-else loop statement. Rather, size max is percentage modulate of 2 is equals to 0. This means that when we divide the maximum value or the size of the array by 2, the remainder should be 0. So if this statement is true, we will see out index is even and line. So else first things first, and like the condition says, it should return true if the index is even. So if the index is even, if this is true, we should return true or valid. Else, return false. This return false will cancel this function if it is false. So this is a function boolean is even for knowing if the index or the total number of or the size of the array is even. So what if the index is odd? So let's say that it is 11 instead of 10. So we're gonna use another function called isAdd. It is the same as the first function. So let me copy paste this. But the only difference is that if max modulate of 2 is not equal to. So if it's not equal to 0, or in other words, if it has a remainder, it will output index is odd and return it as true. While if it is not if it is not odd, it will cancel this whole function. So we're gonna return false. So that's the function of these two functions. It will let us know if the index is odd or even. So if the statement is wrong, the whole function will be disregarded. Now let us continue to int count even. Int count even returns the numbers of even numbers in the list. So the function int count even should return should show the user of how many even numbers are there in the list. So we should have a variable that is the keeper of how many even numbers are in the list. So we have integer even equals to 0. We should also have a for loop because we should increment the value of the index for us to proceed to the next position of a specific array. So integer I is equals to 0, I is less than 10, increment I. So how would we know if the if a specific position has, or a specific number in a position is even? So we will test it again like we do in bool is even. So if array I modulus of 2 is equal to 0, this tells us that in a specific position, if it is divided by 2, the remainder should be 0. If this is true, it should see out something. So actually, it will not see out something. It will just add the value to even, because we already certified in this statement that that position is in fact a even number. So even is equals to even plus 1. So whenever this is true, we're gonna add 1 to the variable even, because we already certified this is even. So it will loop and loop until it found, whenever it loop and loop until it reaches 9. So for another example, array 1 divided by 2. So what is our array 1? It is 1. 1 divided by 2 has a remainder, so this will not work. So the value of even is still 1. So another example, increment array 2 modulus 2. So what is our array 2? Array 2 is 3. 3 divided by 2 is it still has a remainder, so even is still 1. So you see what's going on over there. So after it checked all of the elements of the list, we're gonna see out it. So see out even numbers, even and like. So it will show the value of the even. It will show you how many even numbers are there in the array after you evaluated all of it. Sorry. So int count add is also the same with count even, but instead of measuring if the specific element is even, it will know if the specific element is odd. Yan. Returns the numbers of odd numbers in the list. So we're gonna just copy this, paste it. Instead of int even, we're gonna use int odd, and instead of equal to 0, this should be equal to. Instead of equal to 0, it should be not equal to 0. So if it is not equal, if it's divided by 2 and has a remainder, it is odd. So we're gonna add one number, like I said earlier in even. We're gonna add 1 for every each correct statement we have. So for every time a number in the array is divided by 2 and has a remainder, the variable odd will be increasing by 1 because it is an odd. So add numbers. We're gonna see out the add numbers. Add. So that's the purpose of the two functions. So let's have an example for the count odd. So let's say that array 0 is divided by 2. So array 0 is 1. So 1 divided by 2 has a remainder. So it satisfies this condition. So add is equals to add or 0 plus 1. So the new value of add is 1. So that's again another example. If this is done, then it processes again. It loops again. So int I equals to 1 this time. So array1, the modulus of 2. So array1 is 3. 3 divided by 2 has a remainder. So it satisfies this condition. So add is equals to 1 plus 1. So the total number is add equals to 2. So it just loops and loops until it evaluates each element. So next we go to the function bool find key. It says here that return true if key is present in the list, false otherwise. So in other words, it's a search function. It searches for an inputted number in the array. So let's start by declaring a variable for the user to input. Let's declare int search. This will let the user input a specific number to be found in the array. Then we declare bool c is equals to false. We declare this because we are setting all elements as false because we didn't yet verify if the inputted number in search is in the array. We then create a for loop for position change. So for int I is equals to 0, I is less than size, I is less than max, I plus plus. Inside the for loop statement, there is an if else statement to compare the inputted number to each element in the array. So if c is equals to list I, so we are comparing the inputted number to every element in the array because I is being incremented. So if there is a match found in this statement, if this statement is proven true, then the variable search, the variable c will become true because when you compared a number, the input number and a number in the array, there is a common number. So the originally false declaration will become true because you already have a match found. If the comparison did found the match, it goes to another if statement. So if c is equals to true, this This if statement is for when the C found a match in the array. So C out match found. Match found. End line. Then we're gonna return true as the problem states. Then if in case that the comparison in this first if statement wasn't successful, then we're gonna use an else. So if the variable of C retains as false because there is no match found, then it must see out no match found. Because the variable of C retains as false because there is no match found from the inputted number to the array. So no match found. Then as the problem states, we need to return false also. So end line, return false. So when the variable C is overwritten by true, then we see out a match found. But if the statement for loop didn't match any, then the variable C retains as false and see out no match found. So now the last function we will be focusing on is void sort list. It says here that void sort list should display the list arranged in ascending order. So in void sort list, we will be encountering swapping. So we must declare a placeholder for one element in the array to put in so that it will exchange the values. So we will be having int placeholder. So now we will be having a nested loop because we will be using two elements in an array. We will be comparing two elements in that array. So we need a nested loop for that to happen. So int I equals to 0, I is less than 10, I increment. So under that 4 is another 4. For int, let's say int j is equals to 0. J is less than 10, increment j. So inside that nested for loop, we will be also having an if. So in this if, we will be comparing list I is less than or equal to list j. So this statement will be comparing two elements in an array. So if this statement is satisfied, it will run these codes. So we will be using our placeholder. The variable placeholder is equal to list I. List I is equals to list x. List is j. List j is equals to hold. So what we have here is what you call a bubble swap. In a bubble swap, you are having a certain element in an array to a placeholder, and while that particular element is 0, it will be holding on of another element in that array. So for in this example, the first element, which is list I, will be transferring its value to the variable placeholder. Now, list I will become 0, while the value of list I before will be taken over by placeholder. Now, that list I is 0, another element, the second element of the array, will be transferring its value the to the other element that is already 0. So when this second element transfer its value to the first element, this second element will become 0 now. So while this element list j has no values, or in other words 0, we will be placing the first value of the list I to it. So whatever is the value of placeholder, we will be assigning it to list j. So in other words, the placeholder should be 0, always 0. The end result will be 0. But the elements of list I and the elements of list j swapped. Placeholder is just a placeholder for an element, so that one element can transfer its element to another element. That's what you call bubble swapping. So if this is done, then the definition of a for loop increments that variable. So for example, we have list I is less than equal to list j. List I is 0, so list 0 is 1. And 1 is less than or equal to list j. List j is list 0. List 0 is also 1. So is 1 less than or equal to 1? Yes. So the if statement is true, so this follows. So placeholder is equal to list I. The value of list I is 1. So placeholder becomes 1 and list I becomes 0. Now list I is 0, but list j is 1. So we will be transferring list j, which is 1, to the value of list I, which is 0. So list I now becomes 1. And list j becomes 0. Now list j is 0, but we will put the value of placeholder to list j. So list j now becomes 1, and placeholder again becomes 0. So basically it loops and loops until it reaches 9 less than 10, and after that it will increment this for loop, which is I equals to 1, then it loops and loops and loops. So after that insane amount of looping, we should see out the list that is already in a sorted order. So the sorted list. Yeah. Now, for us to see out each element in the array that is already in the ascending order, we should have a for int I is equals to 0, I is less than 10, right, 10, I plus plus, then the C of list I is less than that. So this for loop will be showing the ascending order of the array. C of right. Now let's see. Save it to CS27 sign. Oh, function definition is not here. Okay. Semicolons. So we have the list 132, 4, 6, 5, 7, 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, 8, 10, 9. Index is even because there are 10 index, and there are 10 total. Even numbers are 5, so 2 is even, 6 is even, 4 is even, 8 is even, and 10 is even. So there are 5 even and 5 odd. So now we will be entering the sorted number from the list to the search. 1. Match found. The sorted list, so these are this is sorted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it was arranged. So yes, it found that yes, 1 is part of index, and it is. So yeah. So what if max is 11? Will yeah, there it is. Index is odd. If earlier the index is 10, the result is index is odd. Now even now it is 11. We changed it to 11, and the output was index is odd. So it was right. Let's change it back. So index is odd. What if I inputted other odd? So let's make this 13. So earlier we have 5 odd and 5 even. Now we have 4 even and 6 odd. So it is correct. So will it search for 13? Yes, match found. So and it is arranged 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 13. So the program that mom is requiring us to do is accomplished. Thank you for this for listening, and I hope to see you for my third video assignment. Thank you.